Okay, so as of today, I now am thoroughly convinced that all of this crap, like French are weak, the French surrender, the French can't fight, horseshit, is perhaps one of the greatest examples of nationalistic, cognitively conditioned, propagandist exercises in the history of the United States. As the years since the web have passed, along with watching different documentaries and listening to expats or English speaking people that are French citizens or have been visiting or touring France alike, I can honestly say that the French's boiling resentment towards Americans is much like a pissed off parent disgusted by the actions of their embarrassing child. So, a lot of people across the web are increasingly banding together over this heaping help of shit we get from our employers and from our government and from big business, including the pathetic wages, the for profit health care, the for profit child care, billionaires galore, zero paid vacations, horrible states of education, zero paid maternity leave, zero respect for women, zero respect for minorities, horrible infrastructure, horrible public transport options, you name it. I could go on. But this right here really takes the cake. France's CGT union has threatened to cut off electricity supply to lawmakers and billionaires in an intense showdown over the government's plan to raise the retirement age. Raising the retirement age. So, French union threatens to cut electricity to MPs, billionaires amid nationwide strike. Protesters, French uh, CGT labor union workers alike attend a demonstration as part of a nationwide day of strike and protests to push for government measures to address inflation, workers' rights, pension reforms. In Paris, September 29th of 2022, La CGT, and this is the newest threat the French people have made. French don't fuck around. That is exactly my point. Exactly my point. The French have collectively decided they are so adamant against their government even thinking of forcing them to work longer as they get older. They are literally shutting the public service of power off to not only their politicians, but their wealthy as well. They know the deal. They seem to know very well that the wealthy and politicians go hand in hand. I shit you not. They are taking the electricity away from these people for just thinking of raising their retirement age. For a long time, I've seen and heard people in the public or of the public in France just take to the streets en masse, tossing chairs and tossing eggs and just bitching and ready to smash out the windows of anyone their taxes pay if they even consider any kind of new bill that even remotely, in the tiniest way, lessens the standard of living for the many. people in America, as Americans tend to do, will convince themselves that other countries like France are just embarrassing people living in a land that isn't great like the USA. Now, I am completely convinced that all of it is pure projection. Pure projection. Hey, Diggs. Pure projection. It's not even, I don't even know how to say this. It's not even just jealousy or just being told what they should say. It's just outright jealousy, fear, and inability to, yes, have balls as big as the French. And I've been hearing for decades, it's been going on for generations. Everybody has heard the phrase, French are pussies. Raise the white flag, time to surrender. It's the French. Pure projection. I have been seeing many, many examples of how the French are not just not pussies, but they go out, they band together, they cooperate, and they make things happen in ways Americans never have. Just never have. Especially in recent times. So with this article, I am now thoroughly convinced I will never crack a smirk at anybody claiming that the French are pussies again. All right? France's people will band together and practically hang someone if they try to make like Bastille Day a holiday or Bastille Day a work day instead of a holiday. Sorry. Okay, seriously, could you even dream of a day or a time where Americans all band together and strike real fear into their politicians? The same politicians? Could you even dream of Americans banding together to even get some cop fired for murdering a child? Much less become enraged enough to scare a politician over changing his mind about making some minor holiday a work day? Because that's what the French people are doing. They're banding together. They are burning politicians in effigy over being told to work an extra day out of the year. People in this embarrassing fucking country can't even agree about what constitutes murder and who it's okay to murder. People in France lose their shit, and their politicians, these people will say jump, and their politicians will say how high. All right? Over the most minor outrages, even affecting their livelihoods in the teeny tiniest ways. Anything that upsets their zen, even only slightly, they will put the fear of God into their politicians. That is something this country probably hasn't seen in decades. Decades. You know? They're throwing chairs through their politician's window because I'm thinking of maybe raising the retirement age. What do you think? Okay, meanwhile, over here in the United States, we will argue with each other over who has the best work ethic by sustaining the most abuse over a 50-hour-a-week job that pays $10.60 with no vacations and no pension. And this increasing of the retirement age isn't anything new. It really isn't, because it's one other thing politicians and the business people who own them are already thinking of doing here. And that's why we're reading about it happening over there. They're already trying to come after your Social Security. They're already thinking of cutting your Medicare and outright eliminating VA hospitals. Because cutting all of your essential benefits allows them to take that money away from you and move it to newer tax breaks for their rich friends and leave you in a more dire position. Raising the retirement age is a convenient way to eliminate Social Security, to take millions upon millions out of Social Security, don't you think? Millions of dollars taken out of Social Security for millions of people so they can steal that tax-funded benefit like they wanted to anyway. I mean, seriously, don't you find it a little bit odd, a little bit too convenient that just as it's going around that they want to take your Social Security back from you, somebody suddenly gets this brilliant idea to maybe raise the retirement age because, so many elderly people have been telling me as their representative that they really want to work till they drop fucking dead in their 90s. I'm not kidding you. I saved this one. Specifically for this rant. The Santos method is catching on. Rick Allen, Republican of course in Georgia, was recorded saying the GOP is only going after Social Security because people want to work longer. Many people are coming up to me on walkers saying, Rick, we'd like to work into our 90s to make America great. I don't think any Republican or at least, any Democrat would ever be so moronic as to try this out loud. It's no surprise whatsoever that Republicans are in the back pockets of these corporate masters, but sometimes I forget that their base is literally gullible and stupid enough to hear something like this, to read something like this and totally believe it and actually want to do it themselves. Yeah, that's another way. That's another way dickheads like this are trying to get the public used to the idea. Used to the idea of having the programs that you pay taxes into your entire life, by the way. Every job you've ever worked since day one, and it goes throughout your entire life, you pay for these programs. They are there specifically for you. These are the programs you pay into that you know are supposed to help you and your parents as they get older, and you when you get older, and your children when they become old. Social Security, veterans benefits, veterans hospitals, Medicare, Medicaid, supplemental security, disability, all those things. They are all things you always pay into. And when they say they want to take away Social Security, they're not saying cut it and then cut you a check to get back everything you've paid into it, because now you're not going to be getting that benefit. No. They need to pay their rich friends. They need to give tax breaks to certain people, their corporate masters, and they need to pay for it somehow. So they take it from you. That's the way quotes like this, raising the age of retirement, all of a sudden, when this cutting Social Security thing comes up, all of a sudden, this shit comes up. That's their way of getting you used to the idea, comfortable with the idea that having all of those programs that you pay into your entire life are about to disappear. That's the reason all of these crackerjack ideas all pop up at the same time, and they all seem to tie into one another if you actually read on it. But then there's France. Where somebody suggested the exact same thing, and France's immediate reaction was to cut the fucking power to their lawmakers and their wealthy. On our best day, Americans could never dream of being so American. We have been hearing, seriously, how long have you been hearing about cuts to Social Security, cuts to Medicare, suggestions of eliminating the VA hospital? How many times have you been hearing about this in the past couple of weeks? What the hell have people been doing? Has anybody stormed the Capitol over this? Has anybody band together and marched on Washington over this? No. But the French don't fuck around. The French hear this. The French hear, maybe we should raise the retirement. Bam! Chair through the fucking window. Noose hanging outside the door. Oh, no, you're not. In our country, we don't tolerate that. That's how France works. That is legit how they work in France. The country that Americans are taught in so many subtle and not so subtle ways are just pussies. And they're just little so-and-sos who don't know how to fight, and they run away from every confrontation, and it's not French fries, it's freedom fries. And I actually used the term freedom fries once following 9/11, and I have never felt really good about it ever since. I am still embarrassed that I said that, because all of the ways we like to think of ourselves, other countries know how to do it better. Other countries know how to get shit done. They don't have a constitution written by Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, but they understand what their fucking rights mean. All right? They don't have this illustrious history going back to the 18th century and, you know, glorify a group of brilliant lawmakers who penned the first Bill of Rights and all this shit. We like to romanticize that type of crap. We like to romanticize documents that nobody knows what the fuck they mean. Nobody even understands what's on them. In France, the second their government steps over the line, They are right there to remind them what we the people mean. And I don't think they have any kind of constitution that starts with we the people. But they seem to understand what that means more than we ever could. Wish the U.S. would do that. Wish for one day American workers would act like French ones. If they try to raise the retirement age here in the States, I will personally burn down government buildings. You mean, you could just cut off public essential services to your lawmakers and your wealthy. I still can't get over it. I literally wouldn't have even thought of that because, I'm that type of kind of socialist mindset where I believe everybody should be entitled to certain things that are necessities, like heat and hot water and electric and all of that. But you want to know something? They always say, want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. What was the other one? Freedom is only truly acquired through the barrel of a gun. And I know it's not PC, and a lot of people understand that it's not PC, and it's not the best mindset to have to suggest even that the only way we may get things to change for the better is if we actually resort to violence. And this is like a perfect, brilliant way where you can punish the people responsible, but without necessarily using violence at all. You can drive the point home like a rusty fucking stake through the heart of a vampire without having a love affair with your gun or smearing feces on things. I mean, not that those QAnon fucks had anything right in the head to begin with, but, compared to this, that looks even more like a bunch of monkeys with not a really high IQ. And then, once again, surprising us all, are the French. The fucking French. You want to raise our retirement age, work an extra 2 years. You don't have any power. We, it's like in Fight Club. We cook your meals, we clean your toilets, we do your grocery shopping, we're everywhere. Doesn't matter who you are. You don't have anything without the people who are below you. We can find you anywhere. We, the people, can do whatever we want to you. And in France, they all band together. They all seem to get it through their heads. They are all in this together. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. They know the politicians are bought off by the wealthy. They're trying to do the same shit over there as they've been talking about here for weeks. I'm sure, for example, most of the people watching this, if you're watching this, had no idea about any of this before I brought it up or before it showed up on Reddit or any other site you might happen to frequent. So it's getting out there. It's been out there. People definitely know now, but nobody's going to do shit in the United States. In France, they got together and cut off their fucking power. No electricity. No electricity, which also might mean no heated water. I mean, hell, it's a public service. You know, as in the public. And the public is not going to be told that the retirement age has gone up while you reap all these benefits and you remain wealthy. And you continue to pass laws that benefit the wealthy to the detriment of the masses. They don't need any special planning, and they don't need any of your permission. You can't stop them. They're going to cut off your power. Just like that. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm so proud of the French. I can't get over it. Maybe I'll have to move there. I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to rant a little bit about this.